Thank you, everyone. Please, please, thank you.
Tone it down.
We were joking that we would have to tell people to stop clapping, but
We did.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're so excited for this conversation. 4 months ago, we decided we wanted to bring in the experts on advertising tech to be able to help all brands, regardless of the size, know what to do to drive their business forward. So we reached out to the Amazon Ads leadership team, and we asked, who are the best of the best, who, from a growth standpoint, from a brand service standpoint, and also from an integrity, like they do right for their businesses, for their brands, and with Amazon. And we received 3 names, and it was Destiny, Srinath, and Ritu. And so we were super excited. We reached out, hoping that we might get one, and when all 3 accepted, we were, I almost said tickled pink, but that's just a weird phrase. I was excited. I was very excited.
Sorry.
And so today we're going to go through and talk about what are the most exciting innovations coming to advertising tech. They're each going to share that, and then how do you apply that for each of your brands and businesses. I'll turn the time over to each to introduce themselves, and we'll jump into the questions. Ritu.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ritu Java, and I'm the CEO of PPC Ninja. We are a tech-enabled advertising platform for 7, 8, and 9-figure brands, and our mission is to help deliver profitable growth.
Hello, everybody. My name is Srinath Reddy. I'm the founder and CEO of IntentWise. It's a technology platform. I live in San Diego. I just moved there over 2 years ago. Happy to make friends if you live there. My first time here in Salt Lake City.
That was a plea, really.
Yeah. Love the city. A little bit about IntentWise. You know, for many of you, if you notice, over the last 12 to 24 months, there's just been, the likes of Amazon and Walmart are sharing more data than ever before. And our thesis is that to stay competitive, you have to find ways to make most of that data. And that's exactly our mission. We do that through our tech solutions. We have a solution to help you aggregate all your Amazon, Walmart data very quickly into a data hub. We have a solution that we co-developed with Amazon that sits on top of Amazon Marketing Cloud. Really designed to help you make the most of AMC very quickly. We'll talk about AMC more in the session. And then lastly, we have an ad tech platform that sits on that top of that rich data foundation, again, designed to help you make the most of your ad spend, both in search and DSP. But yeah, Brett, thanks for having me, and always fun to be in the company of these 2 experts. So.
Amazing. My name is Destiny Washon, and I am CEO of Better Media. So we are a retail media agency. A lot of what we're known for in the space is content, education, and really strategic management. I will say I'm still really hype from the Jesse presentation. I have a lot of adrenaline, and I could probably go run an ultra right now, and I don't know how that's going to translate with this discussion. Brett and I did request walk up, run out music, so it didn't happen, but here we are.
Run out. We will do the run out.
We wanted to run out.
Thank you again to each of you for joining. So really appreciate this. Let's jump in. We know that you are very active in LinkedIn, and it feels like every single day there's a new feature being launched, new development. It's hard to keep up with it. So we'd love, from the voice of the experts, what are the recent innovations that you're most excited about that everyone here should be aware of? Let's start with you, Destiny.
Where do we even start?
Yeah.
We tried to narrow it down to 5 because, as Brett mentioned, there's so many different rollouts. I think AMC is probably one of the biggest shiny objects and hot topics in the space because it's the first time we're having a ton of access to data. But on my end, I would say something I'm incredibly excited for is just the growth of Amazon advertising. I mean, you know, we have the newly signed NASCAR partnership and a lot going on the Prime TV and the advertising side. And that opens up a lot of opportunity for brands who have always been able to connect from a PPC and a search perspective, right? You know, you bid on a keyword. We now have the opportunity to connect with an audience from a brand building perspective. So that's probably the innovation I'm most excited to see Amazon move towards, because I think it's going to give us an opportunity to really resonate with the audience we're selling to.
Thank you, Destiny. We've got a wide variety of backgrounds here. Sometimes we're talking to people and they say, hey, I was just assigned e-commerce. I know nothing. Help me. You mentioned AMC. It's not the movie theater. Tell us what AMC is in your mind.
Yeah, so Amazon Marketing Cloud, I think, is the first time we've really had. I'm laughing because I'm looking at Srinath, and Srinath would definitely start with, it's a clean room, and he's going to give you the technical actual definition. But when I'm trying to educate brands on what AMC is, it's the first time we've been able to tie all of our data together, whether it's our organic positioning or our audience and customer data with our advertising information, even our retail information. And that's incredible because now we can start looking at things like path to purchase or ad type overlap. So when you're on your QBR and your Amazon reps telling you need to spend 70,000 more on streaming TV, and you're like, do I need to? We actually have the data to say, hey, when you spend on streaming TV, your sponsored product conversion rate increases. And that's the story we've all been looking for, because sponsored products are obviously known for driving an amazing ROAS, but everything else, it can kind of get lost in expectations and communication.
Thanks for that background. And yeah, as we push to more upper funnel investment, we need that data to validate it. So thank you. Srinath, what's exciting? What gets you up in the morning, just ready to dive into ad tech?
A lot of things, but we have one common theme you'll find is certainly Amazon Marketing Cloud. I think our lens on Amazon Marketing Cloud is, it's no secret how much ad revenue has grown for Amazon. Certainly, Walmart is growing as well. One of the gaps has always been this measurement of upper funnel and the impact on the downstream, lower funnel. One way Amazon is expanding its reach is new kinds of ad formats and ad inventory, whether it's Thursday Night Football, Prime Video. But how do you measure the impact of all of that? All of those signals flow right into AMC. So for all the reasons Destiny just mentioned, incredibly excited about AMC. And also from a tech perspective, what we think about is it's still this shiny object on the side from sponsored ads and DSP. How do we really tightly integrate AMC into day-to-day search and DSP execution is what I'm really excited about. And I would say just a couple of things, additional things. When you think about ad efficiency on a place like Amazon, so much is influenced by factors outside of advertising metrics, retail, operations, competitive intelligence. But yet, all those data sets are really siloed and fragmented. And so we get excited about how do we bring those two together, because magic happens every time you bring two data sets together. I'm sure you experience this in Excel. When you do VLOOKUPs and join something, you find answers to something new. So the bringing together of silos is the second thing. And the last thing I'll say is non-Amazon retail media. If you look at Walmart, you ask yourself what is differentiated about Walmart ads compared to Amazon ads. From my perspective, it's their offline physical reach, right? But then, and they are taking steps towards connecting online and offline. I think Walmart Plus that they introduced is a step in that direction. But that's another exciting thing to see in retail media. So.
Thank you. One thing that I absolutely hate is conferences, you're in a session, and then you walk out and you don't know anything to do. And I was like, I just lost an hour of my life. So before we move to you, Ritu, what, Destiny and Srinath, all right, so those are your exciting innovations. What should everyone in this room be doing in the next few months based on that?
I can go first. If you do not have an AMC instance, you should go get one. It's free, especially if you're doing DSP. I'll probably say this again in the conversation. Get AMC certified. Understand what it is. Open your minds to what is possible. And I'd say that I think we're in this new era of, staying competitive is going to require us to just get really good with data. And so building the chops, building the muscle, building the skills internally to get good at it is perhaps the other thing I would focus on.
Great suggestion. Anyone can get certified. Anyone can set up the instance. Thank you. Destiny?
Anyone can get certified? Because I failed the first try.
A couple of tries.
Eventually, anyone can get certified.
Eventually.
I want to hit on that, actually, just education in the space in general, because it's something I'm really passionate about. And I feel like that's what my whole brand was built on. And the reason being is Amazon, Walmart, and the retail media space moves so quickly. I mean, there's no consistent org charts, there's no consistent source of truth for information and rollouts. And I think one of the biggest things that you can do is make sure you're following the right people and the right teams to stay up to date. Like AMC is incredible and it is such a huge opportunity, but I'll hop on calls and they'll think it's a movie theater and they're spending, $20 million a year. And then on the flip side, I'll hop on to a small private label brand and they're like, oh, we've built all of our own custom queries and we've got taken care of. And the biggest gap in that is solely education. So I think that's a big shout out to you guys in a conference like this, but if you really want to make sure you're keeping up with everything in the space, like you have to follow the right people, you have to be in the weeds to really understand, because you can't outsource if you don't know what you're doing. You can't keep up with all of the changes if you don't have some form of pulse on the industry.
100%, and I'll just say, step one actually is just follow these two folks, if you don't already do it.
Humble. Follow him.
There's another angle to this, right? I'm sure you have teams and people, and you want to keep them excited. The whole learning and education, you can make it part of your learning and development plan for your own teams, right? So employee satisfaction can be kind of another angle because of which you need to be doubling down on education. So,
Love it. Yep. Everyone should have in their individual development plan the opportunity to dive into this data. Ritu, any additional thoughts from your side before we go to the next section?
Yeah, actually, so, I've been really excited about where Amazon is going with their AI, and it's also kind of frightening in a sense, because I know that a bunch of us have been caught off guard with titles changing because of, Amazon's AI. So that's just a beginning, and I know things are going to get better. They've also kind of invested heavily in the Rufus shopping assistant, which kind of has deep product knowledge, in addition to knowing everything about, how customers feel about that product and all the questions they've asked and the reviews they've left. And so all of these new kind of innovations can't be ignored, because all of us will be impacted by where Amazon is headed. So I'm really excited and I'm trying to keep up with it. And recently I discovered a white paper called Cosmo, or actually it's a platform called Cosmo, which is basically an AI platform that Amazon is using already and is going to continue to develop more and more. And what this platform is that it is, trying to get or extract implied meaning from searches. So for example, if you have a simple search like sunscreen, depending on who is searching, that can take a different meaning, right? And so Cosmo is this AI-based common sense large language model that understands words and keywords much better than anyone else, because it combines a lot of information and makes things more kind of common sense, and that's basically going to change the way search happens on Amazon. One of the other examples is and this example is actually quoted in that white paper. When someone searches for shoes for pregnant women, for example, the implied meaning of that is that you want like a non-slip kind of, or anti-slip, slip-resistant kind of shoe, because that's what a pregnant woman would be looking for. And so that implied meaning is so hard to convey with just words, right? With just keywords. You can't say, all those words. They'll just have to be layered on, and that's what Amazon is doing with Cosmo. Now, how does this impact us? It's going to impact us because it's going to change the way we do keyword research. It's going to change the way we advertise. It's going to change the way we position products, because Amazon is knowing and learning more and more about our products through not only what is described on a listing or even the assets. They're going to be able to, they already are able to extract a lot more clues and information from our images and from our videos that give them a much better understanding of where this product can best be used. And in addition to that, they're doing this whole thing with understanding, who needs this product when. If you are a camper or have often purchased camping products, then the word sunscreen has a different meaning because you're probably looking for an ultralight sunscreen bottle which can fit into your backpack. And so that's the kind of search that will start to show up more than just anyone who bids the highest on that keyword, right? So just to be prepared for that reality, I think one of the actionable things that we need to kind of start doing already is actually two things. One is semantic SEO, just paying a lot more attention to what is implied. And then the second thing is visual SEO, where the imagery, the creatives, the videos, et cetera, that you're using, they're all going to be scanned by Amazon's Cosmo, as well as Amazon Recognition, which is another kind of Amazon tool which reads deeply into imagery, to understand if this product is suitable for the beach, or is it suitable for hiking, or things like that. So we'll have to pay a lot more attention to the way we construct, because things are going to change very fast. Before you know it, it's going to be a different game altogether. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you. If I just wrote down on my notepad, Google semantic SEO, can you help them explain that?
Yeah, so semantics is this, science of being able to understand meanings of word, or intent or intention behind a certain word rather than the word itself. And we've already seen with, for those of you who are deep into advertising, you've probably already noticed that there's exact matches that don't behave like exact matches anymore. And that's because the lines between, those match types is getting blurred. And again, you can trace that back to this whole investment in Cosmo and in understanding intent, and not just relying solely on words. So just being able to understand who will use what and what might be their implied meaning is kind of the nutshell of semantics.
Thank you. Yeah, and that goes back to the need to dive into the data, because we need the insights to help inform rather than simply a copy and paste strategy.
Exactly, yeah.
Yesterday, I loved the conversation about learning and knowledge and the need for us to continually be hungry. What experiment have you done with your agency in the last 6 months that, helped you discover something new? Destiny, you're nodding your head.
We just made a lot of eye contact. So, building off the AI conversation, we've already seen Amazon start diving into how do we incorporate audiences into search. I think that's the bread and butter of DSP, is layering in a good DSP strategy to say, hey, I am selling a shoe for maternity, and seeing that overlap. But the secondary thing I think that we're seeing a lot of advantage with is the AI conversation in terms of efficiency. Like, we can all sit here and talk about all the crazy innovations of AI in the future and what we're going to get, but on our end, something we've really been playing around with is just AI content creation, AI video, AI imagery. So a really specific case study we had is during this last holiday season, we have a brand that has I want to say 700 SKUs, and they're all holiday specific. And we decided to play around with Amazon's imagery and kind of see what we could do on the holiday specific side. And we took every single campaign and added a little Christmas tree to it. And we couldn't have done that at scale in a traditional role, because we would have had to go through a marketing team and a legal team, but we used Amazon's AI builder to just add a really small touch, and we saw an insane increase in click-through rate. So I think the part that people miss when they're trying to forecast what AI is going to do is they're like, well, the images suck, right? The hands look terrible, this doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, yes, but how can we incorporate it into our operations to really help us be first to market? And Amazon's pushing that. I mean, they have rollouts all the time, the new videos, the new sponsored TV. And if you're waiting for the perfect creative or the perfect video, you're always behind. But if you have some level of AI incorporation, you can test and learn really, really quick. And then you can iterate and improve and scale it out later on.
Love that. Great idea. Srinath?
Yeah, see, our experiments, because we are a SaaS/tech platform, our experiments take a slightly different form. The problem we zeroed in on is, with this massive influx of data, anyone here in this room that manages any kind of ad spend has, I'm sure, felt the anxiety several times when performance is bad. You're trying to figure out, why is this bad? What caused this change? When did this happen? And either it's you are the person overseeing the spend, or you got to report up to somebody. Causes a lot of anxiety, consumes a lot of time. So we went after that problem, and what we try to build was, we literally call it what changed. And the idea is, how do we absorb all this data, all these signals, and come up with the top X things that we think are the biggest drivers of change, and we even assign an impact score, right? So we think we have a reasonable solution around the ad data, but our goal is to expand that to all data for the entire channel. But that's been our experiment. Seems to be working okay, but yeah, so.
Great idea, and yeah, everyone's been in that seat where it's what happened since I went to bed last night,
Well.
and how quickly can I fix
I mean,
that?
I can't relate.
What, other than becoming a partner of yours, any suggestions for those in the audience of what they could do to perhaps not take advantage of all the complexity, but maybe where to look first?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things I find when I talk to whether it's brands or agencies is there is no standard operating procedure to do performance diagnostics, right? So you don't even need fancy tools to begin with. What are the 10 things you would want your teams to follow, right? That way you get to problem areas in less than 30 minutes. So set up an SOP, step 1. Step 2, automate if you can, but if you get past step 1, you've already made a ton of progress, you know? So that's what I would do. And then the more data you can look at, the more automation you can build, you can, just keep going further up that maturity path. But I would say set up a process to begin with.
I love that, because anyone can create a checklist, and that can be disseminated throughout the organization. Any problem, step 1, and then work your way down.
Totally. And part of why this came about for us is I was in charge of data teams and online marketing at a public company before I started this business. The number of times the entire organization runs around trying to figure out what happened to performance on this day, right? Especially out of earnings calls. It's a nightmare. Yeah. But turns out that's not any different in smaller companies too. So everyone should have a process for performance diagnostics.
Great tip. Ritu, what's a fun experiment you've done?
Yeah, so we've been experimenting with single-purpose campaigns, and it's kind of a fancier way of saying single keyword campaign, but we're applying this to sponsored brand headline ads. And I know Destiny talks a lot about sponsored brands, and I think I agree. It's one of the best ways of getting visibility fast. So one of the experiments we've run is, the way we design the entire path from when someone sees a video ad at the top of search results to when they actually purchase it on a store page. Essentially what we're trying to aim for is performance marketing through video. The way we've been able to achieve this is by having a video that is a close crop or a completely zoomed in first shot of the product. And a lot of people make that mistake of having a build-up video. For ads, you don't need a build-up. You need to show the product in use within the first 2 seconds, and if you don't do that, you've lost the attention, right? People have already scrolled by. So we've been experimenting with changing the position of when we start our video, so that's like the first piece. Then we're also focusing on making sure that we have only a single SKU associated with that video. And then we have a single keyword that describes something. We have a targeted headline which aligns very closely with the keyword. And then we have a single purpose landing page. So the page that they land on has the same video or another enhanced version of it. And so that way it's a continuity of the entire path. You're not letting them go away. And then once they're on that landing page, they see just that one product and all the description of it, right? So it's like a single purpose campaign that's controlled from start to finish, and there's no distractions on the way. And it reduces friction to purchase by simply setting it up that way. So we've been doing this. Now, can you do this at scale? And that's where kind of AI comes in. So we have like these Google Sheets where we populate a bunch of keywords, and then we ask ChatGPT, it's an embedded ChatGPT, to generate headlines that include that keyword and are kind of explaining what that keyword is, right, in a fancier way. So we're able to do this at scale, and so that's really worked well, the entire experiment of like how we set it up and how we used AI to kind of do it fast. And I'm seeing really great results from it.
Thank you very much. I'd like to brag a little bit more about the panel. We were a little bit worried when you get 3 highly successful CEOs come together. We were worrying, like, how are they going to work together, and do they see each other as competitors? And we've seen the absolute opposite. It's been a lovely experience preparing for this. Everyone's just, it's like a love fest. Everyone's giving each other compliments and identifying what their agency and business does best. And so based on that, and since you have zero ego, I'm going to add a question that wasn't on the list. So sorry to scare you, but what has been your biggest or one of the biggest failures recently that you think the audience here could learn from?
Awkward silence. I think I'm trying to think of something that's like really easy and actionable and related to our space and not just entrepreneurially.
I mean, I think we talk about AMC a lot. The reality is most people don't understand it, and you can't just get into the tool and start using. There's a big learning curve, right? Is it a failure? I don't know if it's a failure as much as collectively there's just still a lot more for us to do for everyone to see value. Some of us see it, many don't yet. So that's a real opportunity that's still untapped, in my opinion.
I will say, to build off that, we talk a lot about brand building, all the shiny new rollouts and all the exciting things, but at the end of the day, when it comes to Amazon advertising, sponsored product ads drive 75 to 80% of sales. So to us, that's the day-to-day, that's simple. It's bid management, it's budget distribution, it's single keyword campaign setup and good reporting. Like, that comes so easy and natural to us. But at the end of the day, most brands don't necessarily have a full grasp on even that, because it's still a lot. You still have ad types, match types, keyword research, you have changes into how all of your ads are forming. So we get up here on stage and we talk about AMC because we know how powerful it is, but how powerful is it going to be? I think that's the biggest thing, right? If every brand here goes and tells their agency they need AMC, we're going to have a lot of agencies ticked off. Because it's not scalable and it's not accessible to everyone. And same thing for DSP. Like I said, we've all been on a call with an Amazon rep pitching an insane DSP package. And it's exciting to see your ad on TV. Yeah. It's exciting to have an in-home audio ad. But at the end of the day, I'd say it's a miss on our end to maybe not go back to the basics more frequently. And it's something that I know I found myself doing, is getting caught up in the future and the shiny object, when fundamentally every business is ran off a great product detail page, connection with the audience, and good sponsored product ads.
And I'll just to build on what Destiny just said, there's a lot that gets talked about generative AI. And yes, it's getting commoditized. Yes, it'll be accessible to everybody. What we are learning is that what it's doing is it is dramatically increasing the need to focus on the fundamentals. Right? Let's talk about content for a second. Dial back 2 years, the ability to generate high-quality content was a competitive differentiator because it costed a lot of money. You needed to put a lot of time and resources. And if you have a large catalog, you're actually only paying attention to the top few, not the rest. Well, guess what's going to happen? Every one of us here in this room can produce high-quality content, right, at really low cost. So that's not a differentiator anymore. But what is? The differentiator is, does your product still have a differentiated, compelling value proposition to the audience you care about? Now, none of that is new. So I think I've just emphasized that as much as we can get swept up in Gen AI capabilities, they will all be a commodity. They'll show up in Excel, PowerPoint, Word. They'll show up there. But it only works when the core fundamentals of the business are really strong and you're continuing to focus on it.
Ritu?
So my failure is actually a slow one, and it's something that it probably was part of my DNA for a long time, and it's related to keywords. But I just saw the mistake I was making last year. Okay, so the failure is that the way I would pick up keywords for advertising is has been a little bit loose in the sense that yes, those keywords are picked up from some software or the other. Reverse ASIN tools are out there. There's so many tools that tell you here are the keywords with the highest search volume. Here are the keywords that are low-hanging fruit because your competitors aren't ranking for them, et cetera, et cetera. And so you get this long list of keywords, and you think, okay, well, one of these keywords will work for me, So, you go ahead and create lots and lots of campaigns, and then turns out that there's hits and misses all the time, and you're essentially training the algorithm or maybe confusing the algorithm with lots of distracting words that maybe not are super on point, and they don't completely describe your product, or that they're so broad that there might be other ways of achieving that search query through somebody else's product, maybe not yours. So I think the biggest mistake I was making all along was thinking that, well, somehow, as long as I get sales, it's okay with being a little bit loose on the keywords. Whereas now I've realized that the more targeted you are with the search intent, the more it's going to help the algorithm help you. And with all this kind of understanding of where Cosmo is going, and really truly understanding what our shoppers want is a much higher value approach than just being loose about it and just hoping that something will stick. So a failure, but turning into some sort of better understanding of how keywords work.
That was like a good interview response too. It's my weakness that now is my strength. And
You want to hire me?
yeah. Taking notes, that was very good. We wanted to make sure that those in the audience have time to have face-to-face time with these experts. And so we will wrap up with a final question, and wanted to understand, for those in the audience, what innovations should they be working on in the next 6 months so that they're ready for the holiday season or whenever the next promotional period is. What do they need to do next week?
I'm going to leave AMC and touch on creative and brand building and audience building. I think that's something that we have reiterated across the board, whether it's AI, whether it's how path to purchase is changing. But at the end of the day, if you want to stand out on a shelf, you need to be better. You need to have incredible creatives. You need to be taking advantage of the sponsored brands' custom imagery and the sponsored display lifestyle videos and sponsored TV. And the biggest barrier to scale that out has always really been time. It's making sure you have the creative assets in place. So that's something we've been working a lot with our brands is, as Amazon starts introducing new fees and making it a lot more competitive landscape, and it's still a little bit pay to play, you have to stand out on a shelf. It's no longer just price and reviews. So anything you can do operationally to make sure that you're being first to market with all of the creative advantages we're getting is going to be a big opportunity to stand out on the page.
What if I'm a brand and say, totally get it, but my creative team is just slammed, there's no more budget for the next few months. Any tactical ways to get creative up and running in the short term?
Have a great relationship with Amazon. Amazon is really helping to scale out these areas, right? They started as sponsored products, but as we all know, Amazon advertising is the blood of the business. So they're really helping teams get creatives out quicker. I think that's a big thing, especially if you commit to certain levels of spend or testing different packages, they'll help you with those assets. As well as using the video builder within advertising console, right? Amazon gave us a video builder. It's not fantastic, but it's pay-per-click model. Like, if your customer doesn't like it, then you don't get charged. So it's a low-risk way to start scaling out video, especially if you have a lot of SKUs. They're also giving different opportunities with, like I said, Gen AI. So you can build sponsor brands custom images directly within Ad Console. Don't get fancy with your prompts and expect anything incredible, but if you say, hey, put this on a kitchen shelf, it does really well. The last thing I'll throw out there is just syndicating your content from other platforms. Use UGC. Use whatever you're using on social for Amazon Post, or incorporate it into a custom image ad and make sure that you're creating content that is multi-purpose.
Love it. So ask Amazon. There's a lot of opportunities. Even video development. We've found that Amazon's a fantastic partner if we want a high quality video. If you're hitting those spend thresholds, there's opportunities there using generative AI, and then leveraging what you have, and especially from a UGC standpoint, that's quite powerful on Amazon. Thanks, Destiny. Srinath?
Yeah, I would say if you don't already own your channel data, you should. If you were in the session earlier where Dave Wright, the CEO of Pattern, was presenting, I'll quote him literally, data is king, and I fully agree. So whether it's AMC or Seller Central or Vendor Central ads data, be on a path to creating a little data hub for yourself. Why? Because you can actually answer both simple and complex questions, or at least be on a path to do so. We are 6-7 years into Amazon advertising, or maybe more, but some of the questions are still challenging, like, is your ad spend aligned with inventory? Right? Is your ad spend aligned with profitability on each of your products? If you want to, and these are simple questions in my opinion, but to get there, you need to have good, comprehensive, reliable data accessible to you, so I would invest in that, and these days, there's a lot of options to get it done in a fairly cost-effective manner. And then
Could you give an example? So let's say, yeah, I'd love to set up a data hub.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to do that.
So you can go down the path of, connecting your Seller Central ad data accounts. There's a bunch of service providers, including us, where you establish connections and data can start to flow through into a data store that a provider can host, or if you have a little technology team, you probably already have a data store, that data can flow right into that data store every day, right? Seller Central data, you can go back 2-3 years. It'll take about 2 to 3 days to get that in place, but it can all be there very quickly. What that also does is you don't have this issue of data loss, right? What happens today is several brands today work with different providers. For whatever reason, a relationship changes. A lot of times the data is gone. You want to avoid that. So that's step one. Storage costs are really cheap. Processing costs are really coming down. Any tech stack you pick, it's not an issue. You can use a Snowflake or a Redshift or whatever that might be. Lots of reporting tools are out there. So starting and getting to a place where you're getting good automated reporting, it can happen fairly quickly. I wouldn't do everything from scratch. I wouldn't sit and build API connectivity to Amazon. It changes all the time. It's too expensive. There are very cost-effective ways to do that. And then what happens is, after you have a basic infrastructure in place, the value you get out of it is really tied to the type of questions you ask. By the way, that's true with AMC also. When you walk out of here and get certified, it'll come right back to what questions do you really want to answer? And the quality of that questions will determine how much value you're getting out of that data. So build a solid roadmap. Roadmap is a fancy word. I'll just call it a list of questions. Right? By hook or crook, find answers. Right? I don't know if that helps, but that would be certainly that focus on underlying data and foundation.
And that's what we've found, at least at Pattern, that you need that extensive foundation, because as you start moving up and doing some of the sophisticated things that Ritu and Destiny you have mentioned, you need that data to tap into to guide you.
And maybe just one more point I'll add, Brett, which is, in terms of skills, we talked about AMC certification. The other skill that I think is a real superpower is someone on your team knowing SQL. If you're not familiar with the term, it stands for Structured Query Language. It's the language you write to get data out of databases. What it does is, let's say someone on your team has a question saying, look, I want this report. It'll take 6 months for someone to go build. But if you have this skill on the team, someone can get you that answer tomorrow. It builds a great deal of data agility on the team. Again, it's yet another skill you can add to the learning and development plan for every employee in the company. It's not, the body of SQL is complicated, but you just need to know a few small set of things, and you're superhuman.
Yeah, it's teaching yourself how to fish. And fortunately, the training is, you can find significant options that are free and at low cost. So it's really a low barrier, as long as you're willing to set the time. Thank you. Ritu.
Yeah, so I actually want to talk about departing, and this is the idea that you want to serve your ads at the right time of day when people are most likely to be engaged with them. Now, in traditional marketing, this was, or even on television, this is like a no-brainer, right? You want to serve an ad for a breakfast cereal when you're probably, eating breakfast or sometime in the morning. You're not serving ads about wine and stuff like that in the morning and stuff like that. But in the Amazon world, it's very hard to do that. However, the data that we see coming in often shows us that some hours of the day are better suited for better engagement than others. It doesn't mean that you don't get sales in those other hours. It just means that the conversion rates are better when someone is in the frame of mind to actually take action on it like right away, and that's what leads to better conversion rates, right? And that's a pretty powerful signal. Now, I was in the camp for a long time that day parting shouldn't be done, or it doesn't need to be done because you get sales throughout the day, right? But what I've realized after doing a bunch of experiments and seeing really, really good results with with day parting, is that day parting not only helps you be more profitable because you're cutting out clicks at the wrong time of day when you're not likely to convert, but it also helps improve your overall conversion rates, and that's the most powerful signal you can give Amazon, right? If you're seeing lots and lots of clicks at middle of the night kind of hours where people are just clicking around, bored, whatever, it has a different impact than if they're quickly clicking and within a few seconds they've made their purchase and so on. So what I would suggest, for people who have never tried day parting, to start exploring it, even if you do it for like just a small number of hours in the day, pausing those campaigns that have no history of having converted properly or at a good conversion rate or have the worst ACoS. It helps to kind of give Amazon the right signals, and this might be a good time to kind of get set up so that when holiday time comes around, you're actually spending your money in the best hours of the day when you're likely to get the best results, and your dollars go much further. The same money is kind of rechanneled into the best hours of the day, and you obviously see more sales, you see better conversion rate, it's like a flywheel, etc. It helps with relevancy, ranking, and all that good stuff. So if you haven't got a strategy in place, maybe start thinking about it right now. There's many options, many tools, and many ways you can achieve this.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's amazing to see the drastic change in conversion rates hour by hour. And as we're getting that hourly data, why not use it to help inform your bids?
Exactly.
We promised at least five takeaways. I think we've delivered that. So make sure that you're optimizing your bids based on conversion rates and the data that we get from an hourly basis. So day parting. Talked about AMC. Get in there, get certified, set up an instance, set up a data hub for yourself so that you can be self-sufficient, and then getting the training in SQL that is, again, free, available out there to be able to drive your own destiny. And speaking of, we need to improve our content and continually find ways to do that, and there's some low-hanging fruit, whether it be generative AI, leveraging existing UGC, or asking Amazon for support there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you spending time. We were talking right before. I think all three are traveling next week to another conference and rotating, so we know that your time is sacred, and we appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. We'll now, look at this, seconds left. You guys are experts. We will now invite all of you to come up and talk to Ritu and Srinath and Destiny and ask any questions that you have, and they'll be here for the next 30 minutes, I believe. So please take advantage of the experts. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.